This is just to congratulate the workers, the striking workers of Air Canada, because they managed to pull off something that for years no one else has been able to. By actually keeping pressure on the government and keeping pressure on Air Canada, they actually got an agreement. And as of this morning, there is a tentative agreement between the striking workers and Air Canada. Because just as a reminder, Air Canada was banking on the fact that the government would force the striking workers back to work. But because the striking workers said, no, we have a right to strike and we're not going to be bullied by the government or the company had to cave. For months, the company wouldn't negotiate. So, of course, when it came to the last resort of striking, they were hoping that this would be just all stopped and that flight attendant workers would remain unpaid for a good chunk of their time working. But that's the power of workers. When you stand together, when your union is behind you, you can get what you need out of bargaining. And the fact that people stood in solidarity with them, despite the media trying to frame this and like interviewing people who, were stranded, and let's be real here, because of Air Canada and not the striking workers. Air Canada could have planned for this. Air Canada could have actually negotiated in good faith, but they didn't. And the media kept doing these stories about this person is stranded here, this person is stranded there, which sucks. Yes, but this is Air Canada's fault and it's not the workers' fault. But despite this, despite the media pressure on the striking workers, they stood their ground. Other unions joined them and people stood in solidarity with them, and it did not go the way that this government didn't plan for, neither did Air Canada. And honestly, Air Canada used to be a crown corporation. I fully believe that it should be a crown corporation once again to try and avoid these sort of situations in the future. Will it always avoid these situations? No, the government could very well ignore them as well at that point. But at the very least, us taxpayers could have a better say on what happens to this company moving forward. And what just happened today with the striking workers will help set an example for future strikes and for other groups who have been set aside by companies and by this government for too long. I'm proud of all of you who stood your ground, so congratulations.